Happy Devils Sunday. This is the Let's Go Devils podcast, Sunday edition, season 7, episode 9, presented by And Crew Brew. Make winning memories together, one crew at a time, as we're streaming live on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Twitter X Live, and Twitch on the Let's Go Devils Network. Lots of things to talk about.
Oh, yeah.
From last night and the past week. Hockey related, non-hockey related. It's also the 40-year anniversary of the Mickey Mouse organization comment as well. We'll get your comments, as we always do, on the YouTube Live and Facebook Live and X Live.
Screwed up the focus on my camera.
As we go to weird silence.
Yeah, it zoomed in too close.
Yeah.
No, Scotty's looking good in this Michael J. Fox Studios out in Beverly Hills.
It's the light. Finally coming back.
It's because he's the professional of this group.
And studious. Very studious. Very studious.
Yeah, very studious.
Very studio. Because it's in LA. That's why.
Let's get this going. We'll crack it open. Anchor brew. Cracking it open.
Boom.
Last night, huh? Last night.
Last night.
We had a great conversation with Chico. We had a lot of anticipation, a lot of excitement for the game. Walking in, felt good. But there was a lot of things that happened. And a lot of things that we need to. I know Festivus is right around the corners, but we're going to skip right to the airing of grievances today because I need to air some grievances. Okay.
I got a lot of problems.
I got a lot of problems. And I'm going to start off with there is too much damn blue in our building. And after the game,
all afternoon,
all the garbage that spews out of their gosh forsaken mouths on social media and in person, and it's like yeah, all right now you guys are you're better in the standings, your team looks a lot better on you have an all-world goaltender, bro. You have an all-world goaltender. You should be doing what you're doing right now. You should be doing what you're doing right now. We have an injured, riddled lineup with goaltenders that would be backups on 98% of any NHL team at this moment. A defense that's still trying to figure itself out. And you know what? Jack coming up. First of all, Jack comes back. Boys, goal and an assist. Like he didn't skip a beat. But it's just, I can't. I was saying it to you guys before the podcast. I'm at the point now in my life that I'm 40 years old, and I apologize to everybody that's in Section 5. I got a little too mouthy last night. We'll just put it politely. I was using some very colorful language, but rightfully so. You know, people are yelling at us. We yell right back. It's just, I love the rivalry, and I can't stand it. If it was like 60-40, 80-20 in that building, where it's more red than blue, but it felt like we were way outnumbered, and it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing on many levels. And I can't. I hate them so much. I hate the Rangers. I don't use that word often, but I will. I hate them. I hate them. I hate them all. I hate their fans. I hate that team. Shesterkin. I hate them. Anyways, sorry. Airing grievances.
I hate Jacob Trouba, to be honest.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The Devils' non-response to Jacob Trouba is like the management's non-response.
It's unreal.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How does nobody go over there and like even get in his face? He's running dudes left and right, and he knows nobody's going to hold him accountable.
Just like the playoffs.
Call Cam Jansen up.
Oh. Seriously, I would love Cam on this team again. I love Cam.
Can I make an analogy? Since we're
yeah.
You know what? It kind of reminds me the Devils' non-response on the ice is the same non-response off the ice when the Woo Crew guy got sucker punched by a Ranger fan. And where is that guy?
Yeah.
Turn him in, Ranger fans. But
No,
anyway,
they never
They
will.
won't do that.
I know. Of course they won't. But just I'm noticing a pattern here. It's more than just all. It starts from above, and like what's going on the ice. Okay, the Trouba thing. There was also another nasty hit as well. It's more than the loss. I mean, just getting outnumbered in your own building. All sorts of things. I mean, there was a lot of stuff that we all saw yesterday, which I don't want to talk on air about. But it's demoralizing, and then seeing your text that you sent in the group text makes me want to. The next time my rep calls me, I'm gonna actually pick up this time, and I hope she has about a half an hour, because and I'll keep it clean. I like to keep the hits clean. I told Scotty my trick, about my temper. I'll calm down, and I'll be rational, and I'll have 4 bullet points of why they suck right now, and I'll come up with 4 solutions to rectify it. But that's all. And
are you talking about? You're not talking about the team. You're talking about other operations that are going on right now, because that's something that.
Well, yeah, I
needs to
mean,
be
there's a
addressed.
lot. There's a lot of things that need to be addressed. Okay, well, that text that you sent, which we'll talk about in a sec, but also, you can push alcohol but not food at the same time at the arena.
Yeah.
And it's been like that for a while. And I figured, common sense would say, hey, maybe for the Devils Rangers game, you may want to put your best foot forward. I don't know if this is just incompetency of management. I'm not talking about the team. I'm talking about the business side. But I will say this. I'm wondering if the Commanders purchase has anything to do with the stupidity that's we're seeing right now at the arena.
Well, just so you know, Sam, not to interrupt you, but did you know that the Commanders stadium today, the water main broke and they didn't have hot water for the post game afterwards? So, when the players got done with the game, they couldn't even take a shower because they didn't have any hot water. So maybe it's on par for the situation.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Or maybe I don't know. I got my conspiracy theories now boiling in my head why that happened, but but Tommy DeVito did torch the Commanders, and good for Tommy DeVito, a Jersey guy.
Del Barton, right? No,
Don Bosco.
No,
Don Bosco.
Don Bosco.
Don
That's
Bosco.
right. Don
Yeah.
Bosco.
Don Bosco Prep, and has more total TDs than Zach Wilson right now, I believe.
Yes.
Who finally got pulled today.
Yeah. That's for you, Steve Engel.
Yeah, Shane says us talking about the Rangers fans is exactly what they want. Yeah. Yes, it is. But there's certain things that we need to kind of air out. And are we going to spend this whole entire show talking about them? No, we don't want to give them that kind of headspace either. They're not in my head. What I'm going to tell you is there's a lot of things that just piss me off about the way that the operation is going. And if you listen, we'll just talk about it now, because I'm sitting on this, but it's making me madder and madder the more I think about it. The fact that a Rangers outing was arranged for the Devils game, and they had about the same amount of people. If you remember seeing that picture that the Brat Pack put out when he had the Brat Pack outing, there looked like there was the same amount of Ranger fans that were allowed to go down on the center ice and take a photo. I understand it's a business. I understand that you're making money, and I understand that there's a reason that you let them do that. Why you let them buy these ticket packages and whatever rep is setting that up, and then letting them go down on the ice. But do you understand, whatever rep or whoever was responsible for that, do you understand the level of disrespect that is? In no other sport would you see something like this happen. And if it does, okay, maybe it does. But I don't know why I'm so pissed off about it. Maybe it's just because the game last night. Maybe it's all the chirping that you see. And yeah, maybe I am just a little pissed off about how the team is playing right now too. But that was the icing on the cake. When I saw that photo, I could have thrown my phone across the room because it was just it disgusted me. It just absolutely disgusts me.
Hi, Scotty. How are you?
Hey, how
Yeah,
you doing, Short Scott?
very
Yeah,
quiet.
nice to
Hey.
talk to you. How's it
Yeah,
been?
seriously, good to talk to you too. It's been good. How
Yeah,
about you?
It's nice to see a smile on your face.
Yeah,
I like
yeah.
smiles.
Smiles are good, but I will say this: I completely agree with Beer Baron 100%, and this is coming from my time and experience in the soccer world. Your main rival comes into your building. You don't let them onto your logo to take a group picture in their colors. I'm sorry, you just don't do that. And this is what we get having an ownership group that has their ticket sales reps based out of Camden who also own a team in Philadelphia. So this is what you get. Yes, we are the most saturated area for professional sports in this country. We've got 9 or 10, I forget what it is at this point, professional teams in this area. You don't do that. You don't let a bunch of Ranger fans onto your ice to take a group picture like they've earned something. They haven't earned anything. And I don't care what you say. Yeah, okay, the Rangers won. I don't care. You don't allow that to happen. You don't let them on your ice. You don't let them take a picture like that. I just don't believe it to be. And the ticket reps. Yes, Sam. We've been patient. We've been patient. But we're airing some grievances about this crap that we saw last night. And then, not for nothing, but it makes zero sense to serve alcohol, but to serve no food or to serve very little food. That's a recipe for disaster on any night, let alone on a night where you're going to have your chief rival in the building and tempers are going to flare just because of colors of jerseys. They're stupid if they don't realize that. And my guess is again, would they? Here's an example. Would they do this in Philadelphia for the Flyers? Would the Flyers allow a bunch of Devils fans onto that ice like that?
Well, here's the thing. It's a loophole. Okay,
It
it's
is.
a loophole.
It is.
It's a huge,
It is.
yeah.
And if you know the loophole, then any team, what the deal is if you buy a group package of tickets and you have a certain amount of people, part of the thing is you get a picture on the ice.
Yeah.
It's up on the website.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, before we go and fire some poor ticket rep over there, that was getting hit with this loophole, that the Ranger fans could go out there and listen. It pissed me off, and then I thought about it for a second, and I'm just like, it's because they can't afford their own arena, and they're the ones
that's obvious.
The ones that are Ranger fans with the Devils logo on the ice. That's pictures going up on their wall. A Ranger fan is going to have a big old Devils logo on there. So, when you start thinking about it, it pissed me off. I wanted to throw my phone as well for a second, and then I thought about it, and I'm just like, another reason is, why in our arena against our chief rival do we not have fans there? That there's that many amount of tickets that Ranger fans can get.
You can make money on the resale. That's the reason why. There's way too many season ticket holders that are like, oh, I could triple my money by selling this ticket, and guess who's going to scoop it up?
Yep.
And
go to the game then instead of selling.
Exactly.
Go to the game then. Please, instead of selling your tickets
on a Saturday, for crying out loud.
On a Saturday, yeah. I mean, listen, if I was in Jersey, I would have been there Saturday night. You kidding me?
Yeah.
Actually, and speaking of that, surprisingly, it was surprisingly dead up until about 4:30. Up until about 4:30, Sammy and I were there from about noon on until about 10:30 last night. At least that's about when I left, 10:45. It was almost dead until 4:30, and then all of a sudden a bunch of roaches started streaming off the trains in their stupid blue jerseys. And they all...
I saw it on TV. I even said to myself when I started watching, I was like, that looks like a not as normal amount of blue in that arena.
It was a lot.
not good.
It was a lot. Dude, sitting in their arena, I'll put it this way: when they scored, it was embarrassing to hear how loud that building got.
I mean, you could hear it in the third period when they tied it up and stuff through the TV. I don't like that, but at the same time, come on, Devils fans, let's get out to the game and support our team. I know everyone is going to say
that like Putty says.
I know everyone's going to say, oh, these are the most easy way to make money on the tickets and stuff like that. But if you're an actual fan, wouldn't you want to go to some of these games? Like
that's the game you should.
On a Saturday.
Yeah, a Saturday night. A Saturday night. We haven't had a home game against the Rangers on a Saturday night that's non-playoffs, and I can't tell you how long. They like to shove these games midweek, Tuesday night, Thursday night, because they know it'll sell out regardless. So here we are on a Saturday home game against the Rangers. And yeah, I know that the secondary value of those tickets was high, but someone also told me that the value of the tickets on the secondary market dropped on Saturday. Mm-hmm. And so if that's when my guess is when a lot of Ranger fans scooped up those tickets. But man, just show up. This team is not the same team that it was 3-4 years ago. This team is running into some injury hiccups. This team will do just fine coming through the rest of the season. This is the type of game. Yesterday is the type of game that everyone should have showed out. It should have been all red. Yeah.
They should have won the game too, and we'll get into that too. We'll talk about the on ice product too in a minute. But go
ahead because I just wanted to comment on something else about that too. Go ahead.
Yeah, the last point that I want to make about the Ranger fan experience is listen, not all of them are bad people. I did talk to a few that were good guys that were, flat out saying I can't afford MSG and that's why we go to the Rock and blah 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 blah. It's my biggest beef with the whole situation is the unknowledgeable Ranger fan, the guy that sits there and chirps you to death and has no damn idea what they're talking about. No, we're so much bull. We got, and I'm like, dude, 1994. That's all I have to say to you right now. You have 2 cups in 100 years, bro. 100 years. You're one of the original 6 teams, for crying out loud. We'll talk about your world-class goalie that just got into the Hall of Fame that has zero cups. Your current goaltender, who we bounced in the first round, bro. So don't go here and say and talk all this garbage. That's what drives me nuts. It's like they have no clue. You don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what you're talking about. So shut up. You don't know. Yeah, we outsold your building. Dude, I was at a Capitals-Devils game on a Tuesday night, and it was sold out. You didn't help us sell out the building. A bunch of season ticket holders that have no clue what they're doing because they want to make a couple extra bucks are selling their season tickets to a bunch of you mouth breathers so you can get into this arena because you can't go to MSG and watch your team because it's too expensive. And half of you from Staten Island. So go shove it. You should have been an Islander fan instead of a Ranger fan. They're so stupid. You have no idea what you're talking about.
That's Long Island, not Staten Island.
It's still one Island, Staten Island. Who gives a crap? One of the islands, an island somewhere. God, dang! I tell you what. Anyways,
people from the other 4 boroughs don't even like Staten Island, so I get it.
Man, dude,
you okay now? You feel better now?
Yeah, no, I'm fine. I'm fine. I hate him. I hate him so much. Man. I hate losing to him. I hate him so much.
Well,
God,
one thing
right.
I wanted to say, I don't. Yeah.
Hey, don't get it pulled.
This episode's getting flagged now because of that sound.
Yeah. I don't want to talk about Ranger fans. Again, my point of view is, come on, Devils fans, let's buy up some of those tickets.
Show up.
Show up.
Instead of reselling them, let's step up for our team. Who is? Yeah, it's not the same team. I get it. Maybe 4 or 5 years ago when we were just awful, and it was sometimes just hard hockey to watch. But now this is an insanely fun team. You have a face of the league, not just face of the franchise, face of the league, and Jack Hughes coming back, ready to play the arch nemesis, who, by the way, he is deadly against. So let's get out there and support the team. I understand everyone's got money situations, but, just don't. If half of the people that like split them up season ticket holders. Half of you one Ranger game, half of you the other Ranger game. That's not like geez, like I don't know,
the
but
type of game you want to go see. You know what?
you would want to go see
I would
if
think
you were a
so,
Devils
yeah.
fan. I remember when I never had full season tickets, but we used to get those ticket plans, like the 12-pack of tickets or 10-pack of tickets.
And you would circle the Rangers. You would
Oh,
circle
yeah.
the Flyers.
Yeah.
You would be like,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
the game that's going to be fun.
Yep.
Yeah, I want those games.
So I don't know, but either way, I also want to just touch on. I didn't realize this obviously because I don't know. I'm here in Cali, so I don't know exactly because I haven't been to a game at the Rock this season. But there was literally no food going on. Is that what you guys were saying?
No. There's food. There's concessions, and like to be honest with you, the food that they serve there, it's.
Are you just complaining about the food quality?
No, it's the food quality and the availability.
They're closed. Half of them are closed. Like in the 200 section, they're just simply closed. They're
Oh, the stands are closed. That's what you're saying.
There's nothing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But they have the little side beer things to sell beer everywhere.
Oh, of course.
Everywhere.
Of course. Beer's available everywhere.
Yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's not a good idea. That's
It's
not a good
recipe for
idea.
Levi,
It's a recipe
Levy
for
or
disaster.
Levi is it? Levy or Levi? Ted says is the new vendor. Well, you know what? They need to get their act together too.
Yeah.
They need to get their act together too. I mean, listen, I'll pay $15 to $20 for a plate of nachos or some chicken nuggets, but make first of all make it edible, like make it like delicious and nice and like when that place we talked about this before when the Rock first opened, the food quality and the choices that you could get were through the roof.
Best.
They're so good, so good.
Hughes Deli or whatever it was. I used to get that every time I went to the game.
Yeah,
and
it was massive.
Oh.
It was a huge sandwich. That pastrami sandwich. Oh my god, it was so good.
Yeah, a little coleslaw, and pickle, and those kettle chips. Oh yeah, I used to love every game.
Good.
Every game I would get that. Used to love that.
Yeah, they used to have good, good salad as well back in the day.
That's right.
Well, other than that, I mean, come on, like let's run a professional environment over there, guys. Like you can't have just beer and no food anywhere, especially in the upper decks like that.
Maybe Harris
that's like
spread thin.
I think something we should talk about though is the game, the actual team on the ice. Sam and I were discussing on Devils After Dark. It seemed like in the third period they tried to play defense, which is not their strong point. Their best defense is to keep the offense going, pedal to the metal. We could discuss that, but I think the big thing also is, I think every Devils fan, as much as Beer Baron is angry at the experience in the arena, I think all the Devils fans around the world share that same anger for one Jacob Trouba and the fact that there's been no retribution, or not even a retribution, just a really, really nice receipt, on some of that stuff. And I think Ronaldo, I wrote it down, the biggest issue also is first game back, Jack also takes a cross check, near the boards again, that sends him face first into the glass, like at a dangerous angle. Response? Nope. Holtzy took the high one from Trocheck. Dawson Mercer went over for a second, like tugged on his jersey and then let go. Where is the response? Kevin Ball had a nice hit on Trocheck later in the game. Okay, cool. But where was someone getting Trouba? I personally thought the two hits against McLeod were okay, and I thought they were good hits, clean, shoulder to shoulder. The one against Noshik, though, you can clearly see like the follow through of hell, with his forearm. He basically just forearmed him straight in the face.
Forearm shiver.
If he held, and I get it, Noshik's head was going down, but there's no need to rah like that. Keep your arm tucked, and if he hits, and you're not trying to do it. But he was clearly just forearming him straight in the face, and there was no call on that. So, but there are also no receipts.
None. None. Nobody's answered the bell all year. That's
what's really disturbing to me. That's what gives me the anger that Beer Baron has for that in-game experience the other day. Like, I was raging here, just watching the game on my TV with those hits and just like, is anybody going to do anything? Anybody?
And that's where I was spewing profanity out into the world of the lower level of the Rock when I watched Trouba just run and do whatever he wants. And I'm looking on the ice, and Noshik is basically like hanging on to the post of the goal, and you could tell he's pretty messed up. Not a single person, not a single one goes after him. Not
one person did. Sharpen.
Yeah, no, I'm saying like not.
Where's the Devils?
I mean, like nobody answers the bell. Nobody, and it's been a season-long thing. It was happening last year too. And you're like, all right, we got Timo Meier now, which obviously Timo wasn't playing, and in the playoffs, Timo was playing that grittier role. But I don't know what they need to do. They need to get somebody on this team that is not going to be a liability. Like, you don't want somebody that's going to suck up a roster spot because he can drop his gloves and fight people. It's not the 1980s anymore where that role is relevant. We talked about this last week. You need somebody that's going to be responsible, but you need somebody that's going to be a little tough, that's going to go out there. Like a Max Domi would have made sense, or, that's why, like, when the Devils were flirting with the idea of bringing in Matthew Tkachuk, I was like, yes, because Tkachuk will go over in the corner and punch Trouba in the face. Even though he's a superstar, he'll still do it. He's a rough and tough kid. So they need to fill that void of somebody, or the coaches need to be like, dude, you guys are getting your asses kicked. It's embarrassing. Like, stick up as a teammate. Like, stick up for each other. Who cares? You don't have to drop your gloves and fight somebody, but get in somebody's face, for crying out loud. Like, do something. Hi, Sam.
They're too fragile and too scared. I hate to admit it. It's just the no response is just. I mean, you see, if you remember when the Devils played Washington, the Capitals, even when the Capitals had the lead, Tom Wilson was still doing his dirty work, even though they had
Tom Wilson things.
And again, because he can. Yeah. And the same thing happened with Tkachuk and Nico Hischier. Nico Hischier, basically fell into Barkov's knee by accident, and they made a big deal out of it for no reason. But the blueprint's out. You can screw around with the Devils. They're not going to respond. They allow it to happen. They allowed it to happen.
Sharpen soft.
Yeah, and you know what? They don't have that junkyard dog mentality that Jack Hughes had during the playoffs when he lost his tooth, and then if you remember, Jack Hughes had to, who did he go after? Aho?
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, the whole team should be doing that. The whole team should be doing that. Because you got to stick up for your teammates. I just don't understand it. Are they maybe? And I had a theory this morning. I was thinking about it in my head because it's what I do. Maybe are they afraid to take a penalty because their PK is not the greatest? Because when you have a good PK, see, I'd rather have a lights out penalty kill than the power play, because I'm a defense first guy. Because if you can neutralize another team's power play, you can do whatever you want on the ice with those shenanigans and set the tone and dictate what goes on out on the ice. But the Devils don't have it. They're completely opposite. It's not the old days of the Devils. It's the new Devils. It's try to outgun them, but they're too fragile to stay on the ice. Like Timo.
The days of Scotty Stevens and Randy McKay and Bobby Holik and Mike Peluso and these guys that would make you pay if you did something stupid on the ice. Not even like the Cam Janssens or the Reed Simpsons or the Christoph Olivas or the PL3s. We could go down a list, a laundry list of all these different. A laundry list, is that a thing? whatever, a long list of all these people that used to be in this organization that had grit and toughness. David Clarkson, and even Miles Wood to an extent, but even him at the back end of his Devils career was not the same kind of like answer the bell guy. But it's atrocious. Something needs to be addressed, and I know this is something else to switch gears a tiny bit. I know when we had Chico on yesterday, he was saying, goaltending, you can win a cup with okay goaltending. Like, look at who won the cup last year, Aiden Hill, and he brings that up like every time we talk to him. Like, and did Shesterkin win one last year? No. Did Vasilevsky win one? No. And it's true, but at the same time, the goaltending on this team this year has been so subpar. Yes, defense has been a huge issue, but the goaltending, you need that timely save once in a while. You need that stop when Panarin gets that shot off at like a weird angle. You need to make that stop. And last year, Vitek was doing it. He would let in 2 goals, and then he would shut the door. And this year, it is like every time they come down, the other team is coming down the ice, I start to like cringe because I'm like, oh, God. It's like the old Blackwood days.
I feel like Vanacek made some really big saves yesterday. He made one. Panarin was all over the place. Let's just, the guy is playing. He's on fire right now. Was he got 15 game point streak? He's got a point in every game that they've played this year. So, he was gunning for the Hattie. He had that one setup there he was on the left-hand side of the ice. He had the one shot over the glove too, right off the face-off. I mean, that was just nasty. I thought Vanacek made some pretty timely saves, but I agree with your first point that the defense is weak and they hang him out to dry in bad odd man situations all the time. I can't even count like every game. There's just the amount of odd man rushes we give up is ridiculous. It's just insanely ridiculous. I will say though, Colin Miller has looked pretty good for his role. As someone playing next to Jack, I like his outlet passing. Seems to be crisp and on the money. Getting the team, going the opposite way on the rush. But the defense is just not that great right now. And we're going to have to put up with some growing pains with Luke and Ball and Nemec coming soon.
What about
That's
Dougie
why
Hamilton?
when Sam...
What about your veteran?
I want to trade Dougie Hamilton right now, to be honest. That's just me.
All right, so that I was just rewatching two of the goals. Yeah, confirmed, unconfirmed. So I was just rewatching 2 of those goals, including the Panarin goal you were just talking about, Scotty.
Mm-hmm.
That's an absolute defensive breakdown. Why Panarin? So Jack is Jack as the other forward went up behind the faceoff dot and missed the puck and left Panarin wide open. So Panarin gets a wide open shot below the dots. So even a Vasilevsky is going to have difficulty with that shot. Now, is
Dominic
Hasek
would have problems with that shot.
Everyone would have problems with that shot. So that's a defensive breakdown. If your team defense is allowing a player to get just a clear shot like that below the dots to pick whatever corner he wants, that's bad team defense. That's not on the goaltender. And then the one goal that was another defensive blunder was the VC goal. He did not the game winner that VC had. VC good on VC for sticking with that play to the very end.
That little spin move he did. Yeah, where was that when you were on the Devils, VC?
Yeah,
come on, not only Jimbo. Where was that?
So here's my question. Here's my question. Why did nobody knock him to the ice? You knock him to the ice, he doesn't have that opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
That's us being soft and lacking in defense, because that goal really pissed me off when I was watching the game last night going, Where was anyone to help Vitek with that? Like that's one of those weird goals as a goalie where I don't want to say you don't expect it to happen, because these guys are NHL goalies. They should expect anything to happen. But you don't expect a guy to essentially do a pirouette and swing backwards and to be able to still have an opportunity to get to that puck. Your defenseman should knock that guy to the ice. VC should have been looking at the lights in the ceiling because he went to even attempt to make that play.
Mm-hmm.
And then the puck should have gone into the corners there, into the corner from there. But VC should have been staring at the ceiling with his back on the ice. But instead, he's allowed to kind of pirouette through. He follows the play. Good for him. He followed the play, and he got a goal out of it. That's a heads-up play. Our defenseman dropped the ball, and I think that may have been Kevin Ball, ironically.
Or was it
he should
Marino?
have been knocked. I can't remember. I didn't look exactly who it was, but that play should never have happened. He should never have had that opportunity to even get his stick to the puck.
Yeah,
in that situation.
Breakdown by John Marino.
Yeah, I mean, could Vitek have come over with a half butterfly slide to the blocker side to maybe cover that? Absolutely. But
he
again,
made the initial save.
He did make the initial save. So why? Why is VC allowed to get that second opportunity?
Rush. Yeah,
but why is VC allowed to get that opportunity?
Oh yeah,
so that really pissed me off when I saw that, and it's like, that makes and your fan that's not familiar with the position or even as experienced playing the game may look at that and be like, well, why didn't Vitek stop that? Well, because his defenseman should not have let VC get it, even have that second opportunity. VC should have been staring at the ceiling. And that's what pisses me off.
Yep.
When someone like VC is not staring at the ceiling and getting that second opportunity, which he should never have. And then that led to the game going the Rangers' way. Those two goals in particular are just defensive breakdowns. But again, because when Vitek or any other of us goalie doesn't make the save, it goes on the scoreboard, and it looks like that's again, to an uneducated fan, it looks like that we're the problem. Those opportunities never should happen.
Yeah, and if you watch the first goal, someone Tom Dermody over here, the way the Rangers scored is our penalty kill unit literally got into a box in a line, and it just opened up this lane right across the ice, and that's how they were able to pass across like that.
Yeah,
and they can't make those mistakes. Like we always say, teams can't make mistakes against us on the power play. Well, our Rangers are second in the league. We're making those bad mistakes against them. They're going to take advantage of it. Well, the Rangers are playing good right now. They got some good young people. I despise the Rangers fans as more than I despise the actual team, but I don't like the team either. I don't want to give them any credit. But they got a couple good players over there, So this was a test game, and the Devils really just blew it in the third period, just like the Capitals game a few weeks ago. They grabbed the lead, they grabbed the momentum, and then they tried to sit back and play prevent, and the Devils cannot play defense.
No,
they're not there yet.
They need to push the pace. And the worst part about it is you're almost 20 games into the season. In the standings, I don't want to freak anybody out, but we're only a point ahead of 7th place in the Metro. So right now we're in a really dangerous place of letting the top of the division get away from us. We're 8 points behind the Rangers right now. And they need to figure out defensively what's going on. Yes, we all understand Nico Hischier is a huge, huge piece to this. He is a forward who can play a 200-foot game, who is going to, have Selke-like performances out there that are going to help fix and alleviate a lot of these defensive issues. Miller coming back, I think he's been great in the 2 games that he's been on the ice for the Devils, where when he was paired with Luke Hughes in Pittsburgh, I thought they did phenomenal together, and it allowed Luke to be a little bit more free. And, hopefully that's a pairing that will go forward. But
we got some injuries, so we're going to have to find out.
On Miller.
Well, I mean, Noshik, Nico's still out, Timo's out. There's going to be some changes there to those lineups.
Yeah, and that's the other thing too. Is listen, as a fan, it's hard to understand how injuries, how they can happen like this. The injury bug has hit the Devils hardcore in the beginning of the year. I mean, to have your two top centermen out for a handful of games, losing a player like Timo Meier, I would guess that the Devils have only had maybe like one or two, maybe like 3 or 4 games where they've had the full accompaniment of the team. Actually, no, that's not true because Miller was never on the ice when Nico was on the ice. So they, in this year, on paper, whatever team that they wanted to have out on the ice has never had an opportunity to be a full unit. And that says something too, because there's players that when they're gone, you feel that impact. Jack, Nico, these are guys that are not easily replaced. You can have Michael McLeod can play on the top line as much as he wants. He is not filling the skates of Nico Hischier whatsoever.
Yep.
He's a great, he's been playing pretty good this year, and he's been doing what he has to do, and he's been filling that role, and he's one of those guys that has really stepped up. But you are not going to fill the same kind of, score sheet or defensive play that Nico Hischier does. Off, even a face-off. Like that. That's such a huge component because and I saw this in the chat too, and I apologize whoever said it. I wish I could give you credit, but the chat's buzzing tonight. You guys are going off on a bunch of stuff. But somebody brought up a great point that Nico Hischier, if he was on the ice for that Panarin goal, it probably wouldn't have happened. And if he was on the ice, he would have been playing against that Panarin line a lot.
Listen,
which would have been.
That's tough. That's tough.
Saying positionally, because Jack put himself out of position. So, do you think Nico puts himself in that same position? Because Jack is more of a risk taker because Jack knows he can carry.
Well, Nico would have been in the face-off circle. I believe McLeod was there for that face-off. That's what Jack came in on. Jack came in on the wing, and was supposed.
Jack was on the wing in that one.
Yeah. So McLeod is, Mike McLeod he's really good at faceoffs, but I don't think he has the same offensive, creativity. He can play some good defense as well, but when he's down in that third line center, that really brings the depth to our team. With Nico, McLeod is like third in the league in faceoff wins. So he's really, the only problem is freaking Trotrek is number 1. So, it was a battle between them all night long. But Nico, is also there, but he's got that offensive creativity that Mikey McLeod, you see the effort. Like he's been hustling and playing well in this role. But is it to those, Nico capabilities that we know about? No, because they're just two different players. And Nico has more, on the offensive side. But I feel like McLeod has been doing well. I think he's been doing well, Yeah, I can't really fault Mikey for. I see the effort there, and I see him trying to create and do that stuff. But I think you're absolutely right. He'll flourish in a bottom 6. He shouldn't be top 6. But you put him as a third line or a fourth line center, and that gives your team a hell of a lot of depth. When you have someone who's third in the league, in faceoff wins. Or percentage, coming in there on those bottom pairings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I totally agree. We're just in an unfortunate situation right now where we have to have someone like Mikey McLeod in these top positions, and like you said, he's that bottom 6 guy. But right now, he's got to do it.
Yeah,
and it's just What concerns me the most right now is seeing this team play like they are, and God forbid something like we have an injury like this in the playoffs. Like what happens? This is not a real good. We're not passing this test currently. Now that doesn't mean that we can't pass it later on, but we're currently failing this test of what happens when your top players go down. We had spoken earlier in the season. We're deep. Next man up. Well, we're seeing that it really isn't that next man up mentality like we assumed or thought it was going to be. So they've got some things to figure out right now, and getting Jack back. And so I will say this a little bit in defense of Jack. He's been out for 2.5 weeks at this point, and to jump right into a game.
The second, I think he went out. I think that was his last game. Second or third, yeah.
So to jump right back into a game, you're going to be a little off, and you're going to make mistakes like that. Unfortunately, that mistake really cost us with Panarin scoring that goal. So any other type of situation, or that's a goal that makes it 3-1. Okay, it's not so big a deal, but that mistake gets magnified because that tied the game, I believe. So
I think that tied that mistake
up. Yeah. That mistake that mistake gets magnified because of the impact it had on the final score of the game. Now that goal being scored didn't automatically put the final nail in the coffin for the Devils. That was that VC goal. But again, it goes back to everything we've talked about. It's just defensive breakdowns. This team this year is just so far as good as they were defensively last year. And if this is Jack, like just a little bit off from being out for as long as he has, it happened at the absolute wrong time and in the absolute wrong situation. And Jack, as the competitor that Jack is, that he was probably pissed off. Just pissed off about
he had a lot to say. He had a lot to say after the game. I like this new Jack Hughes because after the game he was like, "That's a game that good teams win." He's like,
"Love it."
We need to. Basically, he's calling out the entire team, and I love that. Like, yes, start call your entire locker room to the carpet. And I know some people are like, "Oh, you could lose a lot." Like the Lindy Ruff might be losing the locker room, and it's like, no. You want your superstars to step up and hold people accountable. You want the people that are making the most money on the team, that are the marquee players, to not only because he's holding himself accountable too. Like he isn't always just like throw people under the bus and it's like, "Oh, I'm fine. I'm doing my thing." Like he's holding himself and the entire team accountable, and that's what you want. That's leadership, and he's really stepping into that role this year. I will go as far as saying that if Nico Hischier was not on this team, that Jack Hughes would 1,000% be the captain of the team. 1,000%. And some people might disagree. Dude, look at this year, how he's come out. I feel like he's come into his own as like being comfortable. Like he hates doing interviews and stuff like that. He's like really, it's not rehearsed. It's not like one of those like the typical hockey interviews after a game where it's like, "Oh, the boys came out hard. We skated at a good 20, but we didn't get a full 60 out there. Blah blah blah. Each shift, blah 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 blah." He's like, no, like he's breaking it down as it should be broken down. I just want to see this team. I want to see Nico get back and hopefully get back healthy and get back soon. And I want to see what this team looks like when everybody's available. But at the same time, when is it time for Fitzy to really take a look in the mirror and look at some parts of this team and either fix it or do something to push this team in the right direction? My biggest fear is they're going to keep floundering around until they get things figured out, and it might be too late by then.
So am I wrong thinking that Thanksgiving is really that benchmark time where a GM like Fitzy will really take stock in what's gone on and what moves have to be made? Or is that just something that I'm coming up in my head?
A quarter way of the year, right?
20, I think so. Yeah. Should be right around there. We got 3 this week, so
we got 3 this week. We have Thanksgiving coming up this week. So this is really, I'm looking at my schedule in front of me here. So we'll be, just about 2 months, 2 full months into the season with 4.5 left to go. And I've said this before and I'll say it again, while we can't make the playoffs in November, we certainly can make it harder to make the playoffs come March and April.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Fitzy, just the way that he has shown his actions over the last couple of years, I think we have to have that faith that he's going to, if not already be making phone calls, probably be making phone calls, maybe seeing if he can get some kind of a Black Friday sale and fleece some other team for Black Friday. I don't think he's going to be rushing down the doors of a Walmart or a Best Buy to, bull his way out of the store with a television in his hands. But, he has been known to fleece some teams. Black Friday would be a great day to do it. But if I have to assume, again, we don't know what's going on in the background. We don't have the injury updates like he does. We don't have the scouting reports like he does. I have to put my full faith and confidence that if he's not making phone calls, it's because he has a reason. And if he does have a reason to be making phone calls and he has that ability, I believe he's probably already working those phones, because I know he's not going to let this project fizzle out, which he's built over the course of this one season, because he's done a lot of too good a work. He's done too good a job to just let this fizzle out at this point. So I have no doubt in my mind he's either making phone calls right now or he has full confidence in what he's been told on the inside of who's coming back and when they're coming back.
Yeah. I mean, I was just reading the chat, and some of the comments in there are reflecting about what we're talking about. But one of them in particular, where it said it would be nice to have an actual full team for 10 games to know. And Tom said that. So Tom, I feel like that is probably one of the most I feel that way 1,000%, because Miller hasn't been on a team until recently. Nico's been out for a while. They've never had the full complement of what Tom Fitzgerald has put together as his team, right? So, yeah, get that team on the ice, get them going for 10 games, see how they do. And if they're doing well, maybe you don't need to tinker around with it and make drastic moves. But right now, there's something needs to be kind of figured out and done, because otherwise they're gonna be staring the bottom of the barrel dead in the face before you know it, and this is gonna be a lost season for no reason.
Yeah, that's a proverbial between a rock and a hard place. We've not really seen this team full out, and this team is not doing well right now. So what are you left doing? And they were first of all, last night being out there on the street outside of American Whiskey, we got to talk to a lot of fans. We got to talk to a lot of people out there. So thank you for coming out and showing up and talking to us and having great conversation. And a lot of the conversation and questions inevitably centered around Zadorov and what we could do to get him. And I think that if that option's there, Fitzgerald is looking at it. I can guarantee if that option's there, if that option is anywhere on the table, I would imagine Fitzy is looking into it. But that's what a lot of the talk of a lot of the people we got to meet last night was, bringing someone like him. I've never really seen Zadorov play, so I really don't know how to gauge how well he'd fit in. I mean, his size alone would tell me immediately he would fit in, because we need that size. But again, let's just remember, if we want to bring him in, we have to be ready to say goodbye to a couple pieces that we probably like and have purchased a jersey of already. So we just got to be ready for that. We just got to be ready that's, Fitzy's made some deals where we've looked at it and scratched our heads going, how the hell did he do that? But okay, this may be one of those deals in particular where, Calgary, while they're a dumpster fire currently, they're not just going to let a good guy go for nothing. So we've got to be prepared. If Fitzy makes a move, we may have to say goodbye to somebody we like, and that's the downside of sports. But if we want this team to succeed, that's what he needs to do.
Yep. Oh, by the way, Stephen Engel, it's not bombs in the air, it's bums in the air, that Enrico Palazzo says. Bunch of bums in the air. Anyways. Hey, it's Enrico Palazzo. All right.
Well, I think we should get to some final thoughts here as we're hitting the old hour mark, and we've been letting out a lot of fumes here, a lot of good therapy session.
Yeah,
good anger relief.
Feeling decompressed.
Feeling better.
I'll go first. I I could feel it in my heart that this team will turn it around. No, I feel it in my heart that this team. Yes, a lot of people are saying, "Hey, calm down. It's only November. It's not even December yet." I don't think we're in full panic mode, but we're in eyebrows raised concern.
I hate to see you in full panic.
Full
Sam,
panic
where's the
mode where I'm
woo?
like grabbing the computer.
There it is. Thank you, Ronaldo.
Yeah,
Thank
Ronaldo, thank you. Super chat. But yeah, but it is time to be concerned. It is time to be concerned. This team is blowing leads. There's about a handful of games that they easily could have won. And last year they would have won, and they did win. There was a lot of games during that 13-game winning streak where the Devils came back from a 2-goal deficit and maybe even a 3-goal deficit, and they were able to rely on scoring, timely scoring, which they have this year, but they don't have the defense to lock it down. And Scotty makes a great point. Like, if you don't try to be defensive and don't try to like sit back and hold the team off, because that's not your style. Your style is shoving the puck down their throat and expecting them to be reactive and putting a team on their heels because you use your speed. There's a lot of things that this team needs that a certain defenseman or two from Calgary would be able to fix. Toughness, defensive play, somebody that would answer the bell. We get it. But let's get this team on the ice. Let's get Nico back healthy. Let's get Meyer back healthy. Let's get everybody on there on the same page, and let's go. Let's see what we got. But they got to start. Listen, man, they got to start pressing. They got to start really putting some wins together. You don't want November to slip away, because at the end of the year, they'd be like, "Oh, if we would have won like those 4 or 5 games in November, we would be good." They count. They all count towards something.
Yeah, agreed.
I will say I'm happy. I mean, we talked about a lot of things that pissed us off today, so I'll say that I'm happy to see Jack Hughes back, because this team is a different team with him on the ice, and I'm very happy that he hates losing. And as Beer Baron was saying before, he holds himself and the team accountable. He's not just calling out other players. He's saying the team, we. Not this person, not that person. No you. It's we. It's us. We win as a team. We lose as a team. And to have a superstar with that mentality, being that Thanksgiving is coming up, that's something we should all be thankful for. Because, by the way, he's on a 2-point per game pace. He's tied for 6th in the league, and he's only played 11 games.
And he missed a huge chunk. Yep.
Yeah. He would be in the 30s right now if he, at his pace, if he didn't miss any games. 7 he missed? 6 or 5? I can't remember. It's either 5, 6, or 7. I can't remember what it is. But either way, he'd be up in the 30s, and he'd be first in the league.
Yeah.
So let's be thankful that we got a damn good superstar over there this Thanksgiving.
Yes.
Yeah, I am thankful that Jack is back. I am not happy that, because I'm an idiot, I left him on my IR for the game yesterday, because it was for a good reason.
Hockey.
It was for a good reason. I completely forgot to take him off the IR, because Sam and I were out there talking to all of you fans that came out, all the Devils fans that did show up to American Whiskey and did come out to drink some Crew Brew with us, and fans that did join our crew yesterday at American Whiskey by partaking in some of our beer and some of our conversation out there on the big stage, brought to you by Crew Brew. That's why I forgot to change my lineup and pull Jack off the IR. But you know what? I hate the Rangers, and we just got to put this behind us. We'll let them talk, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to hear from Billy Dean tomorrow on Hot Pod. Even though I love Billy Dean, I'm going to hear from him, because I would give it to him just the same. But moving on, we've got 3 games this week, 3 winnable games this week. Detroit, who are ahead of us in the standings, but Columbus and Buffalo, who are behind us, who we should beat. But you know what, though? I'm just happy to have Jack back, and I'm happy this team is in a much better place than it was 3 years ago. So,
Cheers. To
and
that.
everyone drink Ann Crew Brew with your Thanksgiving meals this week.
Yeah.
Yeah, just to echo about Billy Dean, I told him a couple stories of what happened last night with Ranger fans, and I guilt tripped them into saying sorry for them.
On behalf, he said sorry. On behalf
of my loser fan base.
And this is why we love Billy Dean.
Yeah. All right, so we started off with a lot of fire on tonight's podcast, but I'm going to end it on a positive note. Well,
I think it was centered on one section of the box over here. Yep. Right down there.
That was the crew. That was the crew.
Yeah, and crew.
Bring it real.
Crew comments.
And
crew comments.
And crew was fired
bring
up.
It real. Yeah.
But today is November 19th, and I'm going to make a statement.
Okay.
Oh, no.
These are usually good. These are usually good. Everyone get ready.
This is a hot take.
Tweet your hate at Primetime Sam Wu. Get those tweets ready.
Yeah. The New Jersey Devils are last year's Florida Panthers. They are going to go through their challenges. They're going to go through their obstacles, their injuries. But in the end, they are going to barely make it into the playoffs, and then suddenly they're going to be the Cinderella team in the Eastern Conference. Just watch,
dude. That just made me happy. Thank you, Sam. I needed that. I needed that little trinket right before this wonderful holiday week. I'm not kidding.
All disagreements. All disagreements on that hot take can be sent to @PrimetimeWoo on X. So anyone who disagrees with Sam and his hot takes. Well, we all know that everyone's going to disagree with Sam, so just tell them where to send it.
Sure.
So they send it to the proper channels.
So it's @PrimetimeSamWoo on X, formerly known as Twitter. And you can send your hate there. I don't care. I don't read them anyway. Well, sometimes I do.
He reads them, and he laughs maniacally. Hey, if we don't see each other, happy Thanksgiving, boys. I know I'll talk to you.
Absolutely.
Happy
we'll
Thanksgiving to everybody out there.
Boys.
Yeah.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone on the chat.
Yeah, so we'll have.
I'll see you on Wednesday.
We'll have some Woo reports Monday, Tuesday, and then Wednesday we'll have Game Day Live, State of the Fan Address, and Devils After Dark.
Woo!
And then,
busy day.
Triple header.
So you'll have some podcasts on your trip to grandma's or for Thanksgiving, all that kind of stuff. You can listen to us talk about Ann Crew Brew and everything. And also, one last thing is I want to thank American Whiskey for just their hospitality the last few days because of the Ann Crew Brew and all that. Peyton, Alejandra, Frank the Tank, Casey, Kevin, all them. They've been
they're the best.
They allow us to do a lot.
Really are.
You fans, and also just a friendly reminder: we will have a big tailgate at the outdoor game. We haven't announced any details. Also, I'm working on Rangers Suck Fortune Cookie Night on January 6th at American Whiskey as well. So
nice.
That's it. That's all I have. Cool. Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Gobble
gobble.
Till next time, let's go Devils.